Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here and welcome to another video. Now I must admit, when we saw Bray Wyatt return to WWE in Extreme Rules this year, I believed that we were never going to see The Fiend again. The fact that we saw the Firefly Funhouse brought to life and The Fiend included within that, that was essentially the end of that chapter in Bray's career. And he was looking to move on, evolve, and create something completely new. However, as of today, as of going into next year, I honestly believe we are going to see The Fiend return. Now, I don't think it's going to be the same as before. No, we know it's not going to be the same as before because we haven't seen the Firefly Funhouse version of Bray, and then, of course, The Fiend yet. And that was what we saw before. Of course, they had those two versions of Bray. I think The Fiend this time around is going to be one of many versions of Bray, almost like a three faces of Foley type gimmick from Bray. And The Fiend is basically Bray's demon side. And it's very similar to what it was before. However, this time there's certainly more of a psychological angle. And I'm all down for it. Bray Wyatt becoming The Fiend against his wishes when he doesn't want to be that human tornado, as he described it as. Now, there's been a lot of hints, a lot of teases with The Fiend through the last couple of weeks. I'll go through a few. Of course, the pose that Uncle Howdy did, we mentioned this in our previous video when we saw the physical reveal. Couple that with the laughter, the same laughter that we heard in the Firefly Funhouse when The Fiend was initially revealed. And that cannot be a coincidence. The very fact that Uncle Howdy, in these creepy videos, is being constantly, indirectly mentioning The Fiend and a mask. He bangs on about this mask to Bray, about how he believes Bray is this liar hiding behind a mask, and that he should just keep the mask on and never take it off and just become an absolute human wrecking ball. Now, Bray, the good side of Bray, is trying to resist this side, this temptation to feel those sensations, those powerful sensations. Howdy even directly referenced The Fiend by mentioning the fact that Bray had essentially sent him away with an image of The Fiend's face. I mean, it doesn't get any more direct than that. The fact also that we had Samson and Delilah references in the whole White Rabbit trail before Bray Wyatt's return. Of course, that links to Alexa Bliss. When you think of Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt, you think of Alexa Bliss and The Fiend. So again, a subtle indirect message. And of course, on this week's episode of SmackDown, Uncle Howdy was mentioning the little pigs, the three little pigs, and when he kidnapped him also. And so that goes back to the White Rabbit trail again, when of course we got that creepy, eerie, three little pigs, let me in, let me in, let me in segment, which of course is referencing The Fiend. And it's this constant reminder that Bray is a liar via Uncle Howdy, and the fact that Bray Wyatt has got all this temptation to feel those powerful sensations again, and Uncle Howdy kind of knows that. The fact that we've seen the Alexa Bliss segments with the Bray Wyatt logo appearing as well, is that tied up and linked to The Fiend? You've got to think so. Maybe The Fiend is only going to get utilised to tie up the Alexa Bliss story. It can go so many ways. But the main take I get from this is Bray is still tempted and knows deep down that he craves putting a mask on again. He craves being potentially The Fiend again. Now, of course, the questions come up. Why would you bring back The Fiend again? A lot of people might think, well, it's a bit corny. It's the same old, same old. I kind of disagree now in a point if they're going to put a slightly different spin on this. I honestly believe this time around, this is the way The Fiend wanted to be booked, or Bray Wyatt, should I say, wanted to book The Fiend on a psychological angle and not a supernatural angle. Now, there'll be some supernatural elements, I'm sure, with Bray Wyatt and his new characters moving forward, but I think this is just going to be one of many versions. And, of course, the obvious thing is merchandise. If Bray slightly changes the mask, slightly changes the presentation, the attire maybe, then, of course, you straight away flat out got new merchandise you can sell, and we know how popular The Fiend was. Couple that with Bliss and The Fiend, a bit Marmite, like people loved it, people hated it, but a lot more people loved Bliss and The Fiend, and those two move so much merch. So I can understand from a business perspective why they'd want to bring The Fiend back or include him as a character. Again, I think they'll change things up slightly, but I certainly feel now we're going to see The Fiend. And also, you've got to remember from Bray Wyatt's creative standpoint, he wants to rewrite all of the wrongs from the previous bookings. He wants the legacy of the Fiend to be remembered in a positive manner rather than a negative. And I love this element of having this many faces of Wyatt. The Fiend is this special attraction. Maybe we only see him at premium events or in big match situations, and they utilize him the way he was supposed to be utilized in the first place. But it's not just Bray and the Fiend. It could be Bray and the Fiend and maybe some other characters around that, or potentially a faction. We'll have to wait and see. But I believe in 2023, little bit of a prediction, we are going to see the Fiend. What do you think? Get down in the comment section, share your thoughts and opinions, and also help me out if I've missed any clues pointing towards the Fiend and an imminent return to WWE. Thank you so much for watching the video. As always, be really appreciative if you could like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new, and we'll catch you in the next one.